today we're going to go through the perfect invitation and how you can create these invitations. So as a quick recap from last week, I do want you guys to remember that the 5 pillars of the H30K method: experience, meaning, transformation, journey, and invitation. Okay. And every class, every event, every program, every ad, you really want to look at with this filter of experience, meaning, transformation, journey, and invitation. You want to be looking at it through that filter. Okay. No exceptions. That's really what's going to make a difference. And then our 3-step growth framework. This is really, really important for everybody in the room. 3 steps to the H30K growth framework. Number 1, pack the house. So this is whatever intro class that you sell. A lot of you guys are using the New Shooter Accelerator Workshop, which is phenomenal. That's going really well in just about all 50 states right now. We want to pack the house. Then we want to give them an unbelievable but short experience that leaves them just hungry for more. Like, these people just can't wait to have more from you and your business. And then we want to invite them back for more. And the invitation is a lot of what we're talking about right now, is how to invite. What words do we have to say to give the perfect invitation? And that's really what today's about. So in order for us to give the perfect invitation, and this is something I see in all shooting ranges and all gun stores and all instructors. I was just on a call earlier with somebody today who's thinking about joining the group. And he said, will people actually buy a $997 program? And my response was, I've got people in this group that are selling $10,000 training programs, right? So the price isn't the problem. But in order for us to give the perfect invitation, our belief has to come first. We have to believe, as the people up front giving the perfect invitation, we first have to believe that we're giving an invitation, not because we want to make $1 billion, okay? But because we believe that what we're doing inherently changes lives. You must believe in your product. Because if you don't, you're never going to be able to give a perfect invitation, because your people will see right through you. So the first step to giving a perfect invitation is that you must believe. And if you have firearm instructors that are training at your shooting range or gun store or whatever, and they don't believe, they're not the right people for the invitation. You've got to get somebody up there that believes. Because if you don't believe that your program actually transforms people, you're never going to be able to give that perfect invitation. Your conviction has to come first, because if you don't believe, you can't get others to believe, okay? And so the second thing I want to talk about is inviting with integrity, right? It's not just about making money. Money is the symptom. Money is the product of doing the right thing in the first place. And so we are helping students see clearly what is already true. The transformation that you and your business provide, it's real. The cost of inaction on their part is high. And the path that they have in front of you, the path that you are presenting, it really works. And if you don't have those in place, then that's where you need to start. So inviting them to move forward isn't sales, it's leadership. And your weak belief is going to kill your invitation. Like, this is so important. Your strong conviction, your strong belief is going to create powerful beliefs in them. And so this really comes down to you. And so there are 5 things. Whenever I try to do frameworks, I try to break it down into stuff that you can take away. You can write down on a piece of paper and really take action for it. And there are 5 things that I boil down a good invitation to. And these 5 things that every student must believe. Every student must believe this in order for them to sign up for your high ticket offer, for your higher ticket offer. So number 1, your students have to believe that the problem that your high ticket $997 or whatever course provides, they have to believe that the problem is real. So what's the problem, right? Well, the problem is life is dangerous. We see on TV and Facebook and YouTube more and more every single day the crazier and crazier things that criminals are doing over and over and over. They're no longer respecting law enforcement like they used to. There was even some degree of respect against on law enforcement a while back. Criminals even kind of had an understanding, right? They would leave other people alone. They wouldn't prey on the weak or the people in wheelchairs. And we don't see that anymore, right? we see an unbelievable shift in bad guys getting worse. And so to combat that, we need to get better. And so the problem that we are facing is that the world is dangerous. It's a dangerous place to be in. And that's the first thing that your student needs to believe. And this is why it's so difficult, by the way, to sell home invasion workshops or personal protection inside the home, because people believe at their home that's the safest place. A fire will never happen to them. A home invasion will never happen to them. That's why it's difficult to sell that program, is because they feel safe. They don't feel like they have a problem, right? So they really need to understand that the problem that they're facing is real. Then they need to understand that the problem they are facing is urgent, right? That is a really big fundamental. And that's why in COVID, we saw this huge spike in training. It's not necessarily because of any other reason than there was rioting and looting and craziness. Right now, we're seeing that in Minnesota. We're seeing that in some other places. But oftentimes that feels like it's something that's not really hitting your people. It's not really affecting them. It's not in their state or their town or their home. And so we need to understand that the problem they're facing is that evil exists, right? The problem is real. Evil exists. And evil is urgently rearing its ugly horns, getting stronger, bolder, less contained, and it really can affect them. So they need to understand that the problem is urgent, right? It is real and it's urgent. Then they need to understand that the solution that you are presenting to them during your invitation, that it works. And ways that you can do this are obviously outlining how the program works. But if you have somebody on staff or you have somebody in person that has gone through your program and they're readily able to explain that, there is nothing like somebody getting in front of your class and saying, I went through this $997, $750, whatever you sell. I went through this program. I was here and now I'm here. There is nothing like that. In lieu of that, if you don't have it or you can't get it, the next step down is a video of that. In lieu of that, the next step down is a written testimonial of some sort. But they really have to believe that the solution that you are presenting in front of them, it works. And then they have to believe that the solution that you are presenting in front of them, it will work for them. So a lot of folks, and I deal with this all the time, a lot of folks, they come into the class and they just, when you deal with your first step, fill the house class, you've got people that come in and they're brand new to shooting. And they go out of the range, they fire their 50 rounds or whatever, and they are excited about it. But they still feel like they are not ready to come back to the range on their own. And so what we need to do during the invitation is make it very clear that not only does the program work, but it will work for you. One of the things that I see all over the country when I'm dealing with firearm instructors and I'm talking to them about this program is they all tell me that their situation is different, that the people in their community are different, that their state, their town, their location, their system, their business is different. And so they have a fundamental belief that my program won't help them fill their classes because they're different. And I literally have to tell my instructors that I'm meeting with on Zoom for the first time, I know you think that you're different, but you're not. We've done this so many different times in so many different places. It's not the economy. It's not your location. It's not that your people are different. It's not that your location is different. It's that you have a fundamental problem. And once we have that baseline of that fundamental problem, right, then I can talk about how urgent the problem is and that I have a solution that'll work, and then that I have a solution that'll work for them. And so that's the exact same process that you need to do, is not only do you have a solution that works, but the solution will work for your student, no matter what skill level they're at. So that these people that feel like they're not ready for an actual training program, they do sign up and they are ready. And then number 5, that this training program, so not only will it work, it'll work for them. It's the right choice. It's the right method for them to do. It's the right method for them to take. So you need to convince them in your invitation that this path, that this journey for $997, $750, whatever you're selling it for, that this is the right path for them. This is the right method to go from where they are to where they want to be. You have to persuade them that this is the right vehicle. And if any one of these are weak, if any one of these points are weak, your conversion rate is going to drop. And we're going to talk a little bit later on what your conversion rate needs to be. So your conversion rate, what I mean by that is that you've got a certain amount of students per class. We divide that number by the invitations accepted, and then we get our conversion rate. So our goal is to track exactly how many students who are sitting there in your class. We have to track it every single class. I literally want you to have a spreadsheet that says date, how many students attended, how many converted into an invitation, how many accepted the invitation, and then how much was made in that class, and then how much extra was made in the invitation. I want you to track that. If you don't track it, you don't optimize. And it's just a gut feeling. Well, I feel like that invitation wasn't as good, right? Shawnee just mentioned in the group last week, she broke down her invitation and she said, I think she said, I had 6 people take my $600 program. I had 4 more people take my $850 program. She's tracking it, right? So it's not a question on whether it was effective or not. It was effective. And here are the numbers behind it. So you must track your invitation, the amount of times that you've given your invitation, and what your conversion rate is. And when you are good at your invitation, 35% of your students should accept your invitation. 35%. This 35% is specific to a couple of conditions. Number 1, you are in person. It is always easier to convert. You will always have a higher conversion rate in person than you will on Zoom, than you will over the phone. In person, you will have the highest. 35% of your students should accept an in-person invitation. That is your goal. So if you are tracking week over week and you are seeing less than 35%, you know you need to optimize. And I listen to game tape. I have a Google Drive devoted to game tape, and this is something I listen to. I will watch my pitch. I will watch my invitation on Zoom over and over and over, and I will watch and I will see how I did on game tape. And honestly, when I follow my rules, when I follow my script that I have laid out in advance, I am much more likely to close. It's the times that I feel like I'm having a great time on the call or a great time in front of the people and I deviate that my conversion rate drops. And so don't deviate. When you have your invitation written, your script created, don't deviate. But if enrollment is low, it's because of the following reasons. Number 1, they don't fully feel the pain of the problem. Okay. And what I want to explain about this is this. We are training people to save lives. We are training people to protect family. I know you guys know that, but when I put it in this perspective, in this language, you're going to feel the pain. Imagine that you are a student who declined to take the journey for $997 or $750. You declined the invitation. A year later, you find yourself in a situation where you need to use your firearm in self-defense. You draw that firearm, but you fumble and you completely miss. And because you lost those crucial seconds, somebody in your family is no longer living. If you were able to communicate that pain to your customer, do you think for a second that they would say no to an invitation? Because how much does that life cost? $997, right? I mean, I'm not saying that that's what we need to stand up in front of our group and say, but the emotional impact that you just had when I dropped my voice a little bit, I spoke a little slower, and I presented an actual situation, the emotional response that you had is the emotional response that we need to have our students have during our invitation for them to really feel the pain, for them to really see the problem for what it is. If your enrollment is low, it's also because they don't see the cost of staying the same, of staying where they're at right now. Again, going back to that example, I mean, you can literally say in your invitation, it's totally appropriate to say, imagine a year from now you're at Walmart and you can go through the whole thing and say, somebody got hurt because you weren't as trained as you need to be. Would it be worth the cost of this program, right? You can literally say that. That's the cost of staying the same. You're talking about cost, and you're talking about emotional toll. And I've been in a lot of places in my life where I would, if I could pay my way out of it, I would do it because it hurts so much. You guys have all felt that too. And so that's why the price isn't the problem. The problem is the invitation. Another problem could be that they don't believe that the transformation is certain. You're giving them a dream outcome. And the dream outcome is that if a situation occurs, you will be ready. if a situation ever occurs in real life, you will have the maximum opportunity to save a life of yourself or someone you love. And if they don't believe that they're ever going to get there, because they don't believe that your solution is going to work, or your solution is going to work for them, or your solution is the right vehicle, then they're not possibly going to believe that the transformation is, that the dream outcome is likely to get achieved. The dream outcome that you present needs to be believed by them that they can actually get there. And they may feel that they are unsure that they can become that identity. They might feel unsure that they can get there, okay? And that goes back to those 5 points. So your job is not to ask better. It's not to, ask in a better way. Your job is to install those beliefs, those 5 things that they need to believe. Your job is to install those 5 beliefs before you even get to the invitation. During the class, you should be talking in those mannerisms before you even get to the invitation, okay? So the offer that you have, okay, when I talk about offer, I'm specifically meaning the high ticket program you sell, the $997 or $750 or whatever it is you sell. The offer that you sell, it must be invitation ready. That means that they need to fully feel the pain, that they need to see the cost of staying the same, that they need to believe the transformation is certain, and they need to be 100% sure that they can achieve that identity. So before you invite people, before you stand in front of a group and give your invitation, I want you to do this. Number 1, I want you to ask yourself, is there a clear before and after? Am I able to sum up in one sentence where the student is now and where they're going to be after the course? Do you have an identity named? Are they the ultimate protector, the ultimate defender? Are they, Andy's Angels? I don't care. Do you have a named result for the identity that they're going to achieve after your program? Do you have a finite timeline? Do you have it outlined? It's going to take 3, 6, 9, 12, whatever, how many weeks to get there? Do you have a timeline outlined? Then, do you have skills that are tied to benefits, right? We're going to teach you how to draw from holsters so that you can shoot from a holster on our range after you become a range member. And in case of emergency, you can draw and get on target quicker, faster, saving more lives, right? Skill tied to benefit. And then objections need to be killed early on in your invitation. What I mean by that is an objection is a reason why they'll say, why not now? And you need to kill the objections, and we'll see how in the next few slides, how to kill objections. Reasons why they won't sign up, right? I've got to talk to the wife. I've got to wait. I don't have the money, right? We're going to talk about objections in a second. And then real urgency, like not fake urgency. Why sign up today? And this is what I do on my Zoom calls for this program, is if people don't sign up today, they're not getting the bonuses. I'm not going to do they're not going to get the extras. So this is what you need to do in your program, is that if they don't sign up in your classroom right then and there, that they don't get the special perks. And you need to hold them to that, right? If they don't make a decision right then, you need to not give them the bonuses. It needs to be a right then type thing. And then the invitation. This is the moment that we've been waiting for, because I'm going to break down what should be in your invitation, literally word for word, and how to do it, okay? So to recap, first, for phase 1, there are 5 phases of your invitation. There might be 6 phases of your invitation. But number 1, we need to recap where they are right now. So you're standing in front of your class. They just had a great time at the range, and you're standing there, and you have to say this. Guys, tonight you've proven a few things. Number 1, training itself can be fun. It's exciting and it's safe. You had a great time. Number 2, you can do this. A lot of you who came to this class tonight, you're shooting for the very first time, and you never thought in a million years that you could do it. But here you are at the range, overcoming your fears, and you can do it. And some of you walked in, you were unsure, you were afraid, you weren't sure that you were doing the right thing. You were afraid you're going to mess up or hurt somebody or do it wrong. And guess what? You didn't. You had a great time. And this is not even close. The training that you received tonight is not even close for you to go out there and be responsibly carrying and defending your family just yet. So it was fun. You can do it, and you're not even close to ready to be out there carrying. And so the next step that we need to do is restate the forward vision of the future. And this should not be the first time that you said this in class. They should not hear the forward vision of the future for the first time during class in the invitation. But in order for you to be successful, you do want to restate the forward vision of the future. what is it going to look like, right? And here's an example. High Caliber Training is on a mission to create the safest community in America to live. We want to retake our community from the bad guys and evildoers, and we want to reshape the future of our community for our kids. That's why we're doing this. And that's why we're giving the invitation today. We don't have to be worried. The people in this room tonight don't have to be worried or afraid anymore when we're not at home. The criminals are the ones that should be afraid of lawful concealed carriers like you. Every person in this room, you have a God-given duty to leave the country that you are in a better condition, in better shape than where you found it. And High Caliber Shooting Range has a way to get you there. So then we go to phase 3, where we present the problem. And we say, look, criminals are getting bolder. Bad guys are not afraid of cops the way they used to be. Response times are minutes when seconds matter. You're presenting the problem over and over. You say, the world is not getting safer, and hoping it gets safer is not a strategy for self-defense. In a free society, only stays free when good people like you are trained, disciplined, prepared, and armed. And so if you ever have to use your firearm self-defense, you're never, ever going to regret the time or money that you spent on training. Then we go to phase 4, and I have phase 4 separated out because this is so important. We're going to overcome objections before they're even said. You get some objections, okay? So during your invitation, you're standing there, you've just gone through phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, now we're at phase 4, and this is how you handle this. You say, some of you might be thinking, I don't have the time for this, I'm so busy. And some of you might be thinking, I'm not ready for this, it's not for me, I'm not prepared. And some of you might say, I need to think about it and make a decision later. And some of you might say, I can't afford it. Well, here's what I want to say to that. For those of you who are saying, I don't have the time, you make time for your priorities. You've got to make time for what protects those that you love. Like making time for your training is making time for the people that you love. And training is not extra time. It's not some fun hobby that we want to participate in. It's almost like an insurance policy protecting yourself and those who you love the most. So how do you not have time to invest in the people that you love the most? So for those of you who say, I'm not ready, look, no one walks in ready. Nobody. That's why structured training like this exists, because readiness is built. It's a mentality. It's a mindset. It's not just inherited. It's not just given to you when you walk in the range. So for the people who say, I need to think about it, you basically are saying, like, think about what? Whether responsibility is worth commitment, right? Whether protecting your family deserves your time or energy. And for those of you who say, I need to think about it, right? That we already talked about that one. And then I can't afford it. This is my favorite one. The real question isn't cost, because everybody in the room, right? If you were selling, and this is another reason why the price is not the problem. If you were selling a claim to a gold mine, and you knew that that gold mine had $1 million of the gold in it, and you were desperate for the money, you couldn't drill out the mine, you couldn't do it. If you sold that mine for $10,000, and it was guaranteed that somebody would make $1 million on that, and you're like, come buy this mine for $10,000. Every single person that you pitch that to would go and do what it takes to get the $10,000 to make sure it happens. The point is, if your invitation is really honed up to what it needs to be, the price isn't the problem, because if you do such a good job at the invitation, people will do whatever it takes to make sure it happens. If they are saying that the money is the problem, I can't afford it, that's not the problem. It's that they don't value it. So while you're in front of your pitch, I want you to deal with this objection before they even say it. And you want to say, for those of you who say they can't afford it, I know you've got bills, money's tight, I get it. But the real question isn't cost, it's priority. What do you prioritize more? Having that money in the bank account, or being able to defend your family and your loved ones if the situation should occur? Because we spend money on what we value. Safety is either an expense to us, something that is extra, or it's an investment in peace of mind. It's an investment in your safety, in your family's safety. So the bottom line is, if the mission matters, these objections that we just went through get overcome during the invitation. So phase 5. Phase 4 is objections. Phase 5. This is where I want you to, at this point in the invitation, I want you to pass out your one-page document. If you don't have a one-page document for your invitation, create a one-page document. The one-page document should be on high quality resume style paper. This is not just a 8.5 by 11. This is going to breed and scream premium, right? On a resume type piece of paper. For those of you who bought my book, I use resume paper whenever I write your personalized letter for your book. So I want it to be professional, intentional, heavy, and when they hold it, it should feel serious. And when you pass out that one-page offer, then you say, once everybody has it, you say, I want you to become high caliber defenders, whatever it is that you're training. You explain the actual offer and the actual price. Explain what they get if they sign up today only, the bonuses that they get today. And then you ask the question, phase 6, it is 6. You ask the question, who is ready to become high caliber defenders, ultimate protectors, Andy's Angels, whatever. All you need to do is sign and date the bottom and start your journey today. They sign, they date, round of applause for the people who do, we reward them instantly, and then they go to the cash register and pay right then and there. That is the entire process from start to finish, how I handle the invitation.